Today's episode of the show is brought to you by Açaí the Superfruit. If you want 100% organic açaí straight from Brazil with no fillers, no added sugar, go to açaithesuperfruit.com or on Instagram, Açaí the Superfruit. The episode is also brought to you by LCCT Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in Schaumburg and LCCT Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in Barrington. Enjoy the show.
Hey, Jorginho.
That's beautiful. Nossa. This is Sparta.
From Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, from Thiago Veiga.
You are listening to the Jiu Jitsu Legends podcast. Enjoy the show.
Well. Finally we get the sensation, Julianna Peña. It took a little bit of time, but we got her here. I am so excited to actually talk about it because I know we have a lot of interesting stories, that we share many times, and all that stuff. So I'm very excited to share it with all the guys. And I have a few things that, during we'll be asking with you, but normally, it's the main questions is, the first question is how it started. How did you start? And I know it's a very interesting story, because a lot of people actually, some people come in to lose weight, some people it's because, they got beat up or whatever, or got bullied, whatever the excuse is. But I'm really very excited because how you started and what you became, it's amazing. So,
where did you start first?
So to piggyback off of what you said, it was actually a combination of both. I needed to lose weight and I was getting bullied. And by bullied, I mean I'm the baby of 4, and my brothers and sisters, they beat the crap out of me. And so I was always getting the tail end of a ton of beatings, and I was always super aggressive as a kid, but I didn't know where to channel that. So at 19 years old, my sister asked me to join a women's cardio kickboxing class, and I needed to lose some weight, so I joined the class and I threw my first punch, and my coach asked me, where did you learn how to box? And I said, I didn't learn how to box. And he said, well, where did you learn how to punch? And I said, you just showed me. And he was like, oh, shoot, you're a natural. So I threw my first punch at 19. My parents didn't put me in wrestling or any karate or taekwondo or anything like that. I threw my first punch at 19 years old officially, and I kind of haven't really looked back since. I've been fortunate enough to make a career out of it.
well, the way she speaks is so nice, but I remember the first time, that I was talking to Rick. So guys, Rick Little is is the Jiu Jitsu coach, the head coach of the gym, where there's a bunch of UFC fighters in Spokane, right? And I had the pleasure to meet them through Nima, one of the managers for Sam Cecilia. And as soon as I see you rolling, and then I also want to talk about that first time we met, right? And but this was crazy because he's like, dude, this chick is fantastic. She's, she'll be, UFC champion. And he's, and you could see, his eyes, like, he believes it so much, because we've been doing this for so long. And then when we see somebody that has, the heart, the soul, and that vibe of a true warrior, it's amazing because you don't find it all the time. And then, first thing he goes like, dude, do you understand? Like, she came into class, and she's doing this class for losing weight. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, and then, I throw these positions, exactly what you said. But the way he was saying, it was amazing because I know how proud he was, that he found a talent.
Yeah.
Like he's like, dude, this chick comes in, and suddenly I'm looking at her, I'm like, wait a minute. Hey, can I talk to you? Yeah. What's up? How long you been boxing? You go like, never. This is my first time. Well, when did you learn how to punch? And then you go, you just showed me. And that's exactly what you said. And he goes, dude, there was no way that she never did, throw a punch or anything like that. So it was really amazing how he was describing all that stuff. So as you started there, okay, because every time we talk about a fighter, but also I want to talk about, a girl that came in, right? Did you have that in your mind? Like, I want to come in. So your first thought was, I want to lose weight. Did you ever thought like, you're going to be this big time UFC fighter? Did you have that in your mind?
No, actually, I didn't even know what MMA was or what the UFC was. I had absolutely no clue what cage fighting was. I remember, like, we had a TV in the kitchen, and sometimes I'd turn it on while I was doing the dishes, and anytime I would see like cage fighting on TV, I'd literally like click right through it. Like, and that's my only experience of what cage fighting was. I'd see it on TV for a second and I'd be like, next, on Spike TV, I'd always just change the channel and I would never actually watch it. It wasn't until I was there for a couple of months that they asked me to stay after for the MMA classes, and I was like, nah, I just want to do the cardio kickboxing class, I don't want to do MMA. And they're like, no, just stay, just check it out. And so finally I did, and I realized what cage fighting was, and I still wasn't like super interested in it that much, but then I saw my training partner go into a fight and I was like, okay, I gotta try that. Also, unfortunately, I didn't have any money to pay for the cardio kickboxing classes. I was broke. So my coach would call me Julie Clean. That's like what Rick's name, that's what my name was in his phone. Like, he couldn't remember all of our names, so mine was Julie Clean, because instead of paying tuition at the gym, I would clean the gym. I would stay after and mop the mats and make sure I would vacuum, when I get to class and stuff. And so I wasn't really interested in MMA or in fighting. And then when she had her fight, he was like, okay, well, you're not paying for any classes. And he would put on these shows, like these rink-a-dink shows down the street at like the local bar, he'd host these shows and he'd be like, well, you have to fight, because you don't pay anything. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm fighting. yeah, nice guy. So I saw her fight, and then I was like, okay, well, it's my turn. And so I got in there and I took out every ounce of rage and anger and any sort of aggressiveness that I ever had my entire life. I took it out on this poor girl. I was swinging for the fences. I literally was punching with all my might. Like, my arms were dead. I was dead. The girl was in the corner throwing up with a big old bag of ice on top of her. I retired her. She never fought again. And I literally was just sitting there like, what just happened? My grandparents were in the front row, and my grandpa looked at me, grabbed me by the shoulders. He's a pastor for over 50 years, and he's like, you literally took out every ounce of anger you've had in your entire life, like everything accumulated on this poor chick. And my dad's on the other side of me, he's on his knees and he's crying, hey, please don't ever do that again, please don't ever do that again. And I was like, I'm sorry. I felt so guilty and I was so sad. And then everyone was like, you won, be happy. And I'm like, no, do you guys not just understand what just happened? I just fought this person for real, And it's funny because they always say game plan. You work months and months and months. It had been months that I had been training for this fight. And once I got that first punch, everything went out the window. It was like, no, forget about any technique you just learned. Forget about anything that you've just been working on the last couple of months. It literally left me, and I literally was just like, go ham. And just I went crazy on her. I literally just went crazy. And so it was hard for me to remember any of the techniques that I had learned, because it was like I was in a fight, I was in a fist fight, and that feeling is such a rush, it's such an adrenaline rush. And like I said, I've been fortunate enough to make a career out of it. I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do, but when I found mixed martial arts, I was like, this is my thing. This is my niche. This is they always say, find what you love to do and you'll never work another day in your life. Find something that you're passionate about, and you can make a career out of that.
You're passionate about kicking people's ass.
Well, it wasn't that. It's in high school, the girls, they were really...
Yes, I was going to ask you, tell us about before you actually become a fighter. So how was going through high school, and, how was it? Did you get fights before? Did you ever, or you was just bullied and you never wanted to fight? So how was that?
Well, in school, like the girls would have their specific volleyball teams, or they would be really, really good at soccer, really good at tennis, or really good at softball or basketball, whatever. I would always play those sports, but I was never varsity.
Did you ever wrestle back in high school?
No, my dad absolutely refused. He wouldn't let me wrestle. But I was kind of like, why am I not on varsity? Why do I always get put on C squad? Why am I always getting like overlooked? And maybe it was just because I didn't have the skills on a team sport. But once I found fighting, I was like, okay, this is my thing. Finally, I have something that's like my niche, where like I'm good at it and
so
I can
you only
excel.
find out actually that way later after high school.
About a year, less than a year after high school, I finally found the thing that I was like, finally, this is it. Kids are like, I'm gonna go to school to be a doctor. I'm gonna go, take over my family's business. Like, they have their plans. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have anything. And so when I found fighting, I was like, this is it. This is the thing. This is the thing that they tell you is your calling. This the thing that you're supposed to be passionate about. Like, I found it. And so
how was it for you as a woman, right? Because we have a lot of that in many gyms. Like many gyms, women still some gyms, like, it's kind of like, okay, girls train there, boys train over here. Not many gyms actually have that mixed together. How was in the beginning for you as a woman, right, coming in, had no experience at all? How was towards like the team? How did it accept? How did that work it out? So explain to us how it is, because a lot of the girls, they want to find out also, because you have a lot of fans.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people that, wants to be the Julianna Peña. Like, we have little girls at the gym, that wants to be the Julianna Peña. And even guy like, Bunny Blaze wants to be Julianna Peña. It's a joke.
Say,
I don't know who
exactly
that is.
who that is. Donnie Blade.
Donnie Blaze.
Oh, that's my boy.
It's a joke, guys. So anyway, my question is, how was for you to walk in the gym? Because when you started there at Jiu Jitsu, you were the only girl at the time, right?
No, I had a female training partner. Her name was Joanna, Johanna, and she was like my main training partner. Unfortunately, though, she quit because Rick, like, he had his own belt system. It was like the Jiu Jitsu belting system. So we never trained in gis, but he had a belting system. And so one day I was in practice and he touches me on the back of the shoulder and I look up and it's my blue belt. And he's like, here, and he's giving me my blue belt. Well, he gave it to me while I'm like in the guard of my training partner, and she had been training, a lot longer than me, and she didn't have her blue belt. So he gave me my blue belt before her, and that's his first student. And she got up, grabbed her stuff, and she left the class and she never came back. She quit.
Wow.
And so after that, all I had was dudes. I didn't have any female training partners after that. She was my first, and then she ended up quitting, and then it was just all men after that.
And how was that transition? Since you were training with a girl before, yeah, I mean, guys, just so you understand, if you hear Julianna Peña hitting pads in the other room, and we talk in this room, and you're like, man, this dude hits hard.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
And then you walk on the other side and Julianna Peña hitting. Like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people that actually they don't understand how hard you can hit, or how hard a woman that is well trained can hit, can kick. Like, literally, you can kick a lot of guys' asses, right? So, as you go into the gym and there's a lot of guys, how is that transition from being trained with a girl, being trained with the guys, and how is that, like, their acceptance? Like, were they cool with it? And I know as a fact that when you kick some guys' asses, they got so pissed. Right?
Yeah.
Is that macho thing?
Yeah.
How is that? How was that experience for you?
That's the hardest part, because it's dangerous to be a female who actually has a bit of skill, because when you're choking out guys that cannot keep up with you, then they get angry and then they want a second chance, and then they want to kill you. Like, literally, if they have to snap your neck off your shoulders, that's what they're going to do. Their ego's in the way.
Yes.
And so it's very important to me that I find training partners that I can trust. I won't just roll with anybody. And a lot of people are like, oh, come on, why won't you roll with me. It's like, first off, I don't know you.
Yes.
Second off, when I kick your ass, you're gonna be trying to freaking kill me after that, and I can't afford to get injured.
She doesn't have a big ass fucking head, doesn't she?
No. I'm just saying, like, I've been doing this for a while, and so it's very important that I be with training partners that have my best interest to keep me safe. And so that was really hard because, you know, I have been doing this for over, you know, 11 years, and in that course I've been injured many times because I was going with some meathead that couldn't take his ego out of the equation, and then I end up getting hurt.
And I that's another thing that, you know, because we're trying to see how you started, you know, the reason you started, and then blah, 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 blah. And then this is all good stuff. Now, as you said, sometimes you got some meatheads, and we do have that. That happens in the gym a couple times. You know, sometimes you have to throw guys away because they don't have, you know, the good attitude. Like you said, they're meatheads.
Yeah.
And they don't care about other people, you know, and there's a lot of big ego on that. But so how was it? I know you got injured a couple of times, and that happens with all the fighters, especially at that level, right? And especially training so hard for a camp. How was, okay, let's see this way. Which one was your worst injury?
My worst injury. So I was training for a fight, and I know that I got mad. I got upset. Like in my personal life, I was very upset. And I went to the gym, and I was like, let's go right now, you and me, you know, and to my training partner who was...
And what was the weight difference? Was it too big guy?
No, same size. But this guy could literally like do a squat and then do 3 like triple backflips in a row. Yeah. Like he's just yoked, like beyond yoked, and very strong. And he's actually a former gymnast. He's the type of person that can literally stand on one hand and like do a push-up and then turn it into like a triple axel. Like the guy's a complete athlete all around. And I remember him and I slapped hands, and we were like, let's go. And while we were training, he was trying very desperately to take me down. He couldn't take me down. And so he tried so hard that, like, let's say there's a wall behind me, my back's up against the wall, and his shoulder blades are up against the wall. Then he grabbed me by the side of my head, and he's trying to pull me sideways to try to take me down this way, but he wasn't able to do that. So then when I turned to him, my foot got stuck in the mat, and my knee went like this, and it completely collapsed. I ended up tearing 4 out of 5 ligaments in my right leg, and I was done. I was absolutely done after that. So that was definitely the worst injury. Another time I've been Kimura'd, I think, like somebody taking my back and just wrenching it behind my shoulder or behind my back, making me scratch the back of my head. That was more recent, but definitely the injuries are
And that was something that
real.
you were not able to say, hey, stop that, or it was just a stupid movement from a meathead.
It's just ego.
It was just ego.
Yeah.
Now, I know, and people, and like I said, we're going to talk about the good things and the bad things. I know in the beginning of your career as an amateur, I mean, this is how badass this girl is, okay? She got armbar, and she does not fucking tap, right?
Yeah.
So she ended up breaking her arm and still fighting. So what goes through your mind when something like that happens? I mean, I know you well, but you know, this is gonna go everywhere, you know, to all over, and I want people to understand that when you say like, hey, I found my thing, and then things like that, you know, when I see Jacare and Roger fighting in Brazil, and Roger had Jacare in an armbar, and it's the final of the world open division, you know, and then entire stadium is screaming, you know, and Roger broke his arm, and he kept fighting, and he won the fight. So it was probably one of the biggest thing I had, you know,
Experienced.
It was one of the most like craziest experiences that, you know, I've seen. 2 amazing fighters fighting at that level, and they were willing to break their arm to take the world champion. I mean, I would do the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I know how you are, and I know how you think, and such a, you know, like we're playing around and say like you're big head, but no, you got a big heart. Like you're a fucking warrior.
Yeah.
You know, I know even like when we train, you don't like to tap, and I don't.
No.
So there's nothing wrong with that. So what goes through your mind, right? As once that shit happens, and then you break your arm and you're still fighting. I mean, how tough you need to be. And that was just a natural thing, but I just want you to describe how was it?
I didn't realize that Well, I almost didn't realize that could happen. I think I had like a. I didn't realize that like there's a reason why they call it an arm bar because it can't go the other way. You know what I mean? So like I didn't realize that like when that goes, like then your arm's gonna be dangling. Like I never like realized like how does an arm bar work? I think that's when I found out. Oh, it can't go that way. That makes sense. But yeah, I didn't realize that my arm was out. I literally did not. And when I got back to my bench, they're like looking at my arm, and I'm like, and they're like, your arm, and I'm like, put it back in, and they're like, no, I'm like, put it back in, let's go, and they're like, what are you talking? Like the fight is over, like get out of you're done, like your arm is broken, and I was like devastated. I did not want the fight to be over. I was like, I can still do it, and let me back out there. Yeah, no, they had to.
Could you feel your arm at all? Like it was just numb?
I was too much in the adrenaline state to feel anything. Even afterwards, when they took me back there and they were trying to fix it, I was just like pissed at them. I was literally like, why would you guys do that to me? You know, like why would you pull me from this? Like I was upset because they didn't give me a chance to go back out there. Like I was literally like, it's good, just put it, like let's go, you know. And so at the time, especially in fighting, your adrenaline is running so high you can't feel.
How many fights was that in? That was an amateur fight, right?
No, that was a professional fight.
That was world?
Yeah.
It was in the beginning?
That was when I lost to Sarah Morass in my hometown, Spokane, Washington. And, you know...
What a such of experience in life.
It was embarrassing because I took my very first loss in front of my entire hometown. So everyone that loves me, everyone that hates me, the whole damn city is there watching me. And it was the most embarrassing, mortifying, one of the most mortifying experiences of my life. Like,
I know, that humbles your ass so much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes we let it. I mean, I lost, I think it was 96. For this guy too, you know, and it was 96, man, 1996. I think, if I'm not wrong, was the first Pan Ams, and I just got my purple belt 1 week before that, right? I'm like asking Hickson, please don't let me do the, you know, let me get this, let me fight as a blue belt.
Yeah, you wanted to compete as a blue.
You know, I want to compete as a blue, and no, you already did enough on blue. You got to go purple, and you know, I won my first fight, and then second, and then I think I go against this guy, and I did a reverse and I'm winning, and suddenly there's a triangle, and I'm like, I pick him up, I stood up, you know, and I'm looking around, and Hickson's talking, I'm like, I'm not fucking taking this shit, you know, and suddenly I start, my neck start giving up, you know, this thick neck.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often, but anyway, I start going low, and the TV start going
Shut off.
And before the TV, and I was just thinking about it, holy shit, Hickson is watching, and I could not think about it the worst time in my life to lose about it.
Right.
Probably that was the last time I got triangle in my life, seriously.
Yeah.
So tell us, after this, what did you learn? And before you answer, I gotta tell you guys, this is Julianna Peña, right? We're here on the Jiu Jitsu Legends podcast. I'm going to shut off my phone. I'm out of battery. Check us out on YouTube so you can see the whole interview, the whole podcast is at the Jiu Jitsu Legends podcast. Check us out, subscribe, and like it. So we're going to be here for another hour.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to see all you guys. And of course, this amazing fighter. And she'll be fighting October 3rd.
October
Now
3rd.
I got the right date. And who you fighting against with?
Number one contender, Jermaine Durandeman.
So, question. If we win that number one, which we will, who is next?
Amanda Nunes.
Holy fucking shit. Wow. Julianna Peña, someone that I respect and love so much, a true warrior. So, God bless you, Julie, and we'll be training every day until this fight happens. Guys, thank you for the support. We love you all, and please check us out. The Jiu Jitsu Legends podcast. Subscribe and like us. We'll have Julianna tonight.
Yeah, it'll be up tonight for sure.
And then at 5:30 p.m., we'll have Nelson Machado. It's one of the trainers for the UFC fighters too, and a great friend of mine. So thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Boss guys, love you all. Thank you. All right.
He gets a little happy with the Facebook.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
All right. So we win this fight, which we will. right?
I
And I
believe
know this
so.
is a tough fight for us, but you know, I know how hard you train, how committed you are, and you know, we also excited. And before I get there, I want to talk about a specific fight, which was actually against a friend of mine, and I believe is one of the toughest UFC fighters that we ever had. You know, I mean, still have, right? Which is Kat Zingano. And it was such a tough fight for me because I knew Kat before Julianna, and I knew her husband, which passed away, unfortunately. And it was such of a bad thing because I remember you calling me, hey, I got this girl and this girl. I'm like, no, don't pick Kat. You know, you go like, what? You think I can beat her? You know, how, you know, tough you are. He's like, you don't think I can beat her? I'm like, no, yes. But, oh my God, that's my friend too. So for me, it was not a good experience because, you know, someone that I also had in my heart, but I wasn't training since Mauricio passed. And then, you know, I started training with you, you know, and then eventually after 2 years without talking to her, we had that fight. And I believe Kat was one of the toppest ground game girls. I see some of her fights and her wrestling. So how was that fight? Because I think everybody talked about it. It was such a big fight. And tell us a little bit about that fight.
Well, I remember coming to you and telling you about this fight, and I gave you the option because I know that you had known her very well. She stayed in your house in Brazil, and you guys, you know, used to be close. But I also recall you telling her many, many times, you know, before she fought Honda and before she took other fights and after her husband died, you continue to extend your hand to her and say, come train here, come and I will help you. And she never took you up on that.
Yeah, it was just because at the time, I think it was a really bad time for her, and you know, we didn't have a chance. But you know, I ended up meeting you, you know, of course through Rick, and then right after you're done with this, I want to go back and actually talk about the first time we met.
Yeah.
But so tell us how was to roll with somebody that, you know, has such a great ground game and such a good wrestler. So tell us how was that fight?
That fight was good. The thing about Kat is that she's so athletic and she's very strong, and she's got hips for days. You know, she moves her hips very well. She can bridge to the sky with her hips, and she's a very strong athletic chick. So I think that my biggest thing was once it goes to the ground, because it will go to the ground, you need to control her hips. And so that was my biggest worry is, am I going to get rolled in mount? Am I going to get rolled in side control? Will I get bucked off? And so all I wanted to focus on is making sure that she can't roll me, make sure that she can't bridge me over, and make sure that once her shoulder blades get to the mat, that they stay there. And that was the one thing that I think that we worked on the most, is just controlling the hips and making sure that she wasn't able to bridge me over.
I know, I remember. I think that was one of the main things in our camp. I talked so much about that. It was unbelievable. At the end, when you took her back and you're looking at me, you know, and she's looking at me like, you asshole. And I mean, it's like I'm feeling the worst guy in the world, and I'm feeling the happiest guy in the world, you know? Like, I was in the middle of a war, you know, and of course, you know, we were training, and, you know, but my heart was in pieces, you know, for Kat, which I had a lot of respect, and I like her a lot. And then on the other side, I mean, it's business, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the other side, I had you. So it was, for me, was probably one of the worst experiences, you know, as a coach.
Right.
You know, because I didn't want to be, you know, like a low life, like, hey, you know, all I care about is money, which it was not the case. But definitely for me, one of the worst time ever as a coach.
I know, I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm sorry,
it's
Kat.
okay, no worries.
Sorry.
Before actually I talk about how we met, I really want to talk about something that is, I mean, it's probably one of the most important things. So you were the first UFC women, right? That won
Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Ultimate Fighter.
First Ultimate Fighter winner.
Winner.
Yep, as a female.
So tell us about this, because this is the, I mean, you're the first one.
How
Well-
was it being in the house, you know, being
Yeah.
on the show and everything?
Before we were talking about that fight that I lost to Sarah Morass and how I felt and how did you feel? That was my first loss. It was the most mortifying experience, and after that I was like, I quit.
Really?
Yeah, I quit.
Really?
I
You
quit.
didn't wanna do it, or-
Well, it's not just that I didn't want to do it. It's I have this big scar on my
Yes.
nose,
Yes.
and people always think, "Oh my gosh, you need to quit fighting. Look what it's doing to your face." But I didn't get this scar from fighting. I actually was ran over on the street. I was walking downtown in Spokane, and this drunk driver jumped the curb and hit me, and I had this tree snap across my face, and I broke my nose in pieces. So it wasn't like a couple months later, again, that I ended up taking this fight against Sarah Morass, and
That's great.
I wasn't supposed to fight at all. It's just that the main event fell out, and Rick's like, I need to fight. And I was like, good luck finding one, you know what I mean? And he's like, I need you to fight. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I just broke my nose. Like, I haven't fought anybody. Like, and he's like, I need you to, do me a solid and save the show. And I was like, hey, who's this girl? And he's like, it's a Canadian, she's undefeated or whatever. And I was like, he's like, dude, you fought like 3 or 4 Canadians. You smoke them all. Like, you're gonna smoke this chick. And I was like, all right, okay, fine. And I was thinking, I'm not doing anything. I'm in a terrible spot in my life. Maybe this will uplift my spirits. So when I lost to her, I was like, I'm done. I quit. It wasn't. I literally got hit, and then 2 months later, I was fighting this girl as the main event in my hometown. So after that, I was like double negative. I just got hit by a car. I just lost my first fight. I was done. I was like, I quit. So then,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
so
That people really don't realize, people really don't realize how tough a fighter's life is.
It's
how much
mentally
stuff.
stressful.
I mean,
Oh,
gosh.
it gets worse.
Oh, geez,
It gets
go ahead.
worse. So I get up to 149 pounds. Rick calls me and he's like, you have a fight in less than 2 weeks. And I'm like, what? He's like, we're going down to Utah. You're going to fight at 125. And I was like, I can't fight at 125. Like,
I mean, just the head is 125.
exactly. The first time I fought at 125, I had dieted. I was working out. Like, I made 125 no
okay.
problem. Exactly. The second time, like, you want me to fight at 125? I'm 149 pounds right now. I have 2 weeks to cut like 22 pounds. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, we're going. So we took the fight. I cut, I think, like 26 pounds or something like that, something crazy. And I missed weight by 1 pound.
Oh.
And I remember passing out in the sauna and Rick literally like grabbing me by my armpits and dragging me out of the sauna. I was like dead on the floor. And I fought this girl in Utah and I lost a decision.
Oh,
so I
really?
just got hit by a car. I just got my arm broken. I recovered. I quit. He's making me fight, and I just lost again by decision. I got hometown decision against Deanna Bennett, and so that was like 3 negative things. And I was like, I fucking quit. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm so done.
This is
like
not for me.
this
This
is
is not
yeah.
for me.
I was like, absolutely not. Like, this is
God
over.
God is
Yes.
saying something.
Yes, wake up, little girl. And so I was in a very deep depression. I was in a very big hole. But I think Rick's plan was, if I don't get a fight for this girl, she's gonna quit, and she's too good. She can't quit.
Yes.
And if I don't do something, I have to basically re-motivate her to get back her head in the game. And that's what it did, because after that I was like, that's never gonna happen. Like, I refuse. And so we trained and we trained and we trained, and I was training for a very long time, maybe less than a year. And Rick was always telling me, he would always say, one day women are gonna fight in the UFC. And I was like, I don't know, I don't care, but I'm just gonna keep training. And so one day
And your idea was, at the point that after all this shit happens, and you're saying you're training a lot, were you still thinking about it, I'm going to fight, or you're just training to train?
I was thinking I was going to fight, but I
Okay.
never thought that I was going to fight in the UFC. I just
Yes,
thought that was
yes.
a pipe dream. I mean,
Yes.
Dana was very clear that women would not fight in the UFC.
Remember that.
And so then one day, like, I get a call and he's like, they're going to have an Ultimate Fighter and women are going to be allowed. And I was like, what? And he's like, you're going. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And so it was after 3 negative things happened that I got the opportunity to go try out. And I remember, you know, the first round, they you know, you weigh in and they make you grapple. And I had to grapple in front of Dana and everybody, and
How was that?
it was not good. I was very pissed because I got the heaviest girl, and I was the smallest, and I also got, like, I wouldn't say I got caught in an arm bar, but like as I'm like rolling and she tries to like get a submission, because they only let you grapple for like less than a minute. As she's going for an arm bar, they're like, time, and I'm like, what? Like, I was like, they're not gonna pick me, you know, because it looked like I was just about to get arm barred. Like, I was like, oh my god, I was so embarrassed. And but then they called my name and they were like, you made it through to round 2. And at that point I'm bawling because I was like, I couldn't believe that I had made it to round 2 after they just, you know, saw that. And so every round that would go by, they would keep calling my name, and every time they call my name, I keep crying. I was just like, I can't believe this, you know, I cannot.
I mean, through all the negativities, you had it to that point, right?
Right.
And suddenly all the good stuff is happening.
I remember I was in an interview with the producers and with Dana, and they're like, you know, tell us something about yourself. And I had, before all this, got into a fist fight in the street at my job with this man. And I got my eye swollen shut for 3 days and 11 stitches in my left eye because I went out into the alley and I fought him.
We should see his face, huh?
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, the guy ended up committing suicide.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm not. He was a really big dirtbag, in my opinion. But anyways, I told that story to Dana, and so like they write down on my bio card, not afraid to fight a man. And I mean, I think that's what stuck in their head. They're like, we got to get this girl on the show, you know what I mean? Because they're like, she's TV, you know, they want rape, they want to see like crazy stuff, you know, and so they're like, not afraid to fight a man, and that's what read on my bio. And so I think that's what stuck out in their mind, like, this chick's nuts, you know what I mean? Like, she's not afraid to fight a dude. Like,
and that's actually what they're looking for when you're going for the, you know, for the house. They're actually looking for people that will entertain.
Exactly.
You know?
And so that was my in. And when I got on the show, I was still in disbelief. I was like, I cannot believe that I'm here right now. So that's how I got on the show. And
then, of course, the most important thing, you got in the show. I mean, you had all these fights, you had all, you know, going against everything and everybody, and now you in the show.
Yeah.
How was that experience, being there? How crazy was, you know, you're gonna be on TV, you know what I'm saying? You had like, hey, you know, I lost in front of all my people in Spokane, and now everybody's seeing me there. How much pressure was that on you?
I didn't know so much feel the pressure, but it was very bittersweet because on one hand, I'm excited to be on the show. I'm excited to, you know, get the opportunity. And then on the other hand, like, everybody hates me. Everyone in the house hates me. Why? Like, I don't, because I was, yeah. Yeah. And I was winning. People don't like, you know, it's a game of like, the person to your left and the person to your right is trying to knock your head off your shoulders. It's a competition, and I was winning. And so they were very negative towards me. And Rhonda especially was, you know, very much in control. Mm-hmm. And at that time she was at the height of her career, and everyone was kissing her ass. Yeah, and so they didn't want to be associated with me, who was picked on the opposite team. Yes. And Rhonda like had her little minions, you know, and so everyone was just trying to impress her and trying to do everything to like not make her mad. And so that negatively affected me because they would like treat me terrible. And so I just had a terrible time on the show. I literally spoke to no one. I just wrote in my journal and focused on the training, and I just kept to myself the entire time. I literally kept to myself pretty much the entire time.
Wasn't there a guy that started shit with you on the van?
There's two of the whole house actually, but yeah, there was guys that would try to purposely make my life hell. Like they lied about me. If you watch the show, they make up a lie. And they say that Julianna told the other team the matchups. And if you know me, I'm very loyal. I'm loyal to the soil. And I told them, I kept telling them, you guys, I would never do that. Like, I'm on this team. I would never leak the matchups to the other team. Like, oh, we know you did it. And then they go back and they say, I know she didn't do it, but I'm just going to act like she did it anyways. And so they're just antagonizing me. They're calling me a liar. They're telling me that I did these horrible things. And I'm like, I swear, I didn't do it. I swear. And so again, that was another thing to get people to hate me. They're thinking that I'm a liar. They're thinking that I'm telling the other team matchups. So the two guys in that house that made my life the biggest living hell actually got kicked off the show.
Oh, really?
And yeah, the first guy that got kicked off, I told him, I said, that's so weird, Dana, that you guys are kicking him off because, you know, he's like, he was really mean to me. He was really shitty to me. And he was like, well, he's like, it doesn't pay to be mean to you, does it? And I'm like, I guess not, yeah. So then the second guy got kicked off too. And he didn't make weight and they were just both terrible. They were such bullies. And I said, Dana, this is weird. I'm like, the two guys that have been like freaking horrible to me are getting kicked off the show. He's like, looks like they got the Vixen curse, babe. And I'm like, yeah. So I felt avenged. Like, I felt like I was being avenged. I felt like I, you know, kind of got back in a weird way. Like, they were being terrible. They were bullies. They were making up lies. And in the end,
Karma's a bitch.
it didn't
Karma
work
sucks.
out for them.
Karma
Yeah.
sucks. It will come. What goes around comes around.
Right. So that was my experience. I mean, it was crappy, but it was also good.
How was after all this journey of negativity, right, and pain and hard work, and literally like almost retiring even before you started?
Yeah.
How it was to be there and become the first female that won the house?
It was an accomplishment that I will A, never forget, and B, one of my greatest accomplishments because no one had ever done it before.
Yes.
And it's something that no one will be able to take away from me.
True.
It's something that I will be able to hold on to and no one will be able to say, oh, well, I did this and I did that. Well, no one was there. I was trapped in a house for 8 weeks. I had no contact from the outside world and I was able to put my blinders on, focus at the task at hand, and get the job done and be the first woman to win the show. So that's something that I know that I did. I did it with the help of my coaches, but no one will be able to take that away or say that they gave me anything. I know that, you know, being in that environment is one of the hardest environments because it's a tournament style format.
Because you're not training with your team, actually. You train there with other people, other coaches, and all that stuff.
Right, but the format is designed to be one of the hardest formats out there. You have to literally fight these 4 people in this allotted amount of time, and last man standing wins. And so that was a huge accomplishment for me and a huge confidence booster. And it definitely was something that I'll cherish forever because it's like Forrest Griffin or Diego Sanchez.
Yes.
They will always go down as being...
You are legend.
Yeah,
you are history.
They'll always go down as being the
Yes.
first people to win the show and the ones that actually put the UFC on the map.
You will never be forgotten.
Well-
Your name is written on there.
Well, there's just something that's
Hopefully.
going to add her to the Hall of Fame after
Oh,
she wins the
yes.
bantamweight belt.
Hopefully, that's the
Oh, you
that's
will.
the goal.
You will. Come on.
Yeah.
You will. Well, I know you. I know your heart.
Yeah.
I know you love. You're not a quitter.
No.
I know how you are, and it's a pleasure, it's an honor, to have someone like you, to be able to share a little bit of my knowledge. As you're saying, so we talk about the Ultimate Fighter House, and he won that, and I noticed that you're talking about Dana White, how even though it was not him like helping you out, but you kind of feel like that was a good vibe, because you know how Dana White is towards not the fight. I'm not saying anything bad about him, but I'm saying is, he's the boss and he doesn't have a lot of, connection. But there are a few people that, eventually you see, him getting more connection. I know that when you injure your knees, right?
Yeah.
That he helped you a lot. Tell us about that. I know, how was that?
Dana White is probably, if somebody were to ask me who's one of my heroes or who's somebody that I look up to, that's Dana White.
Yes.
Dana White has always been there for me when it comes to fighting. He gave me a chance, and anytime I've ever needed anything and come to him for it, he has always delivered. No questions asked. Just, you got it. Or what do you need? Or absolutely no problem. He's always just been someone that is just such a genuine good heart and extremely generous man. You will never catch me saying a bad word about Dana White. When I did get injured, he did throw my bus under the gym very, very negatively, and it caused a gigantic uproar in my career, but I still don't hold that against him because it was my fault for calling him as I was on my way to the hospital being like, my knee! And he's like, oh, she got mauled by a bear. Like, I think he was just freaking out, you know, and a guy like that with so much press around him all the time and with so much
And he cares. He
attention.
cares.
Yeah, he always has so much attention around him. He was freaking out at the same time I was freaking out, and so that's just the nature of the biz, you know. It was kind of bad timing on my part. I had a big fight lined up, and I had to pull out of the fight, and I think that kind of freaked him out. And so, but other than that, Dana has just always been nothing but gracious and so good to me. So I'll just say that. I forgot what the question was. It had something to do with how awesome Dana is.
Yes, no, just that, like, you know, how important it is
he
to have someone that cares about, you know, the fighters and go, you know, out of his own way sometimes, you know what I'm saying, to do, because, you know, I've been in UFC also with other fighters, you know, and not the guys that I had the chance to work, but, you know, you hear a lot sometimes how some fighters are unfair. Yeah. You know, like, if it wouldn't be for the Farida brothers and him, you know, a lot of people wouldn't have a job. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yes, of course, you know, people wants to make millions. I mean, who doesn't? Right. You know, but you gotta understand, for them to pay you whatever you think you're worth, you gotta bring the numbers up, you know, and we've seen that fighters, you know, getting more and better paid and all that stuff. And, you know, once you own a business, or once you're the CEO or the president, whatever, you know, you will have people down there that don't like this or that. But look, if you want to make it happen, you have to make it happen. Right. You know, so it is, I think, part of the job. And I wanted to, you know, to bring that up because I know that was a cool thing, you know, that he did. And I remember that he was saying, you know, that it made a huge difference, you know, because, I mean, come on, you blow up your knees and you think, my God, you know, it's like, how my life is going to be, you know, am I going to have, you know, a chance to ever fight again? And then suddenly you in, you know, UCLA, you know, getting...
Yeah. Yes. So the surgeon that he had me go to was the surgeon of the LA Lakers. He has worked on Kobe Bryant. He's worked on George St. Pierre, John Jones, Ronda Rousey, all the LA Lakers, any sort of injury. So they flew me down into LA. They had me, Dr. Kavitny, thank you, Dr. Kavitny, for repairing my knee. And at this point, you know, tearing 4 out of 5 ligaments in your knee is like, you're done. Yeah. But this doctor is amazing, and he's like, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fighting in, you know, a year, and you'll be good. He was so confident, and it gave me confidence, like, okay, I'm not done. My fighting career isn't over. And so I knew that I was in the best of hands. And then Dana threw me up in the Westin Hotel in this suite, like the nicest suite that they have in the hotel, free room service, free massage, free everything, free hotel with the balcony and everything. And they literally took care of me for almost 2 weeks in that hotel before I flew home. That's awesome. And I know that other fighters that have injuries, he takes care of them as well.
And also I wanted to bring this up because a lot of the times people only see the bad side. People love to talk shit about, you know, other people. Right. But I know other things that he did at you towards a bunch of fighters that he actually helped them. Right. You know, and sometimes people take for granted that, hey, dude, some things that happens outside of this, it's not actually his job to take care of yourself. Right. You know, nobody told your ass to injure with the head or whatever that was fighting that and get injured. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he's still, though, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it is important for people to understand, because a lot of the times, and that's why I want to bring it up, a lot of the times, the fans, right, the good ones and the bad ones, they really don't know what happened behind the scenes. Right. Like, we live what you guys live. We see what happened. And, dude, you know, it's not all the time the hand up and the good, you know, like, oh my God, here we are, we won, and this and that. Like, I'd be in that situation, and so did you. But also being the one that, you know, like Ben pulled a muscle against Mark Hunt, and, you know, the whole night, you know, he's, you know, literally in extremely pain because he pulled a lower back muscle and stuff like that. I mean, we won together, we lost together. Right. And man, it's not easy after 12 weeks cutting weight, you know, not seeing your family enough, but people really don't understand. And I think it's really important to bring that up, you know, not only the good, but the bad, but also that you have someone out there that represents the UFC, but still do care
Yeah.
about you guys, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, exactly. I once got into a scuffle downtown. I got arrested, and that was a whole thing in and of itself. But Dana paid for my lawyer. He dang near bailed me out of jail. Got my lawyer and got the whole thing expunged. He got it all expunged off my record.
Okay,
So
what did you do?
I don't. I
Let's just leave it alone.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
we're
should.
not talking about
I shouldn't
that.
even have brought it up.
Okay,
But
so
he
let's
was.
not talk about that.
He okay. So I'll talk about something else.
You were
He's-
defending.
yeah.
You were defending a bull.
Yes, sir.
Self-defense, yeah.
Self-defense. But
Yes.
the point is even
Yeah.
if I'm not talking about myself, and even if I'm not talking about fighters, I'll give you a different example. The coronavirus. How many businesses have gone out to
Yes.
say, I can't afford to pay you anymore, I gotta let you go. Or my whole business is collapsing, I'm sorry, we're going out of business. Or so many bad things that have happened to businesses during this coronavirus. I know for a fact Dana has not let one person go. He has not fired one person from the coronavirus. He hasn't said, hey, I have to reduce your pay. I can't pay you anymore. The coronavirus hit and you gotta go. He has kept every single employee. He has continued to employ them during this whole time. And he's been one person where people can truly rely on him and know that he's not gonna screw you over because he's a good person.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I just want to say, like, thank you. He, out of all these sports, the NFL, basketball, the only sport that I think was going on is like jockeying, riding horses during this whole coronavirus, you know,
Yeah,
and the UFC.
Yes.
The UFC and like I think maybe like beanbags or bowling or something like that. The UFC has been that one sport that has been continuing to succeed during this coronavirus because Dana White cares so much. And he wants to see these fighters succeed, and he wants to continue to build the business and make sure that, you know, us fighters are getting paid. And so to me, he has my utmost respect. And I think that, you know, he deserves a lot more credit.
Yes, that's why I wanted to bring that up.
He's a good
because
person.
I knew the story.
Yeah.
You know, I know other stories too. Not with you, but with other fighters that I know, and that he was there for them. So I think it's you know important to bring that up because you know people always like to you
Just wanna
know
bash
push people down, and a lot of the times, you know, I own businesses and I know how it is. You know, a lot of the times, man, you know, people want you to do what they want for them, and that's not good for your business, and you got to say no.
Yeah.
You know, I got people that, you know, betrayed me and they've been with me for, you know, 15, 20 years, you know, as since they started their career, you know, and here we go. Just because, you know, you say yes your whole life and the day you say no, they go, you know, fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, and then they start talking shit about you, which is life.
Yeah.
You know, but once again, I wanted to bring that up because I think it was an important thing, you know, and I know how important he is
Yeah.
in your career,
He is.
you know.
He is.
And so, moving on. So
Yes.
we talk about the big boss. We talk about the Ultimate Fighting House. You know, the first female that won the house. Amazing accomplishment in your life. I mean, who would think that after all the shit you went through, would you ever think about that? I was gonna win the Ultimate Fighter House, ever.
No, because it wasn't even like a attainable thing. It was like women aren't allowed, so it wasn't something that I ever thought about. And then when I was in it, I never thought that I would be the one to win it. I literally looked at it one fight at a time, one day at a time. And so when it was like actually finally happened and stuff, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Looking back, like that's crazy. I did that. So it was something that I didn't actually realize until it was there happening to me.
So after you win the Ultimate Fighter, when did you guys get like introduced? 'Cause we never went to that.
I think, were you on the day that I was training with Nima and everybody came?
No.
No, it was Kiesa.
It was just Rick.
Sam, Rick, and who else?
So did you guys meet up in Spokane or here?
No, actually, I was in one in UFC with Ben,
Mhm.
and Nima Safapur, which is manager of, you know, a bunch
Sam.
of Sam
And we
Cecilia.
also have the same birthday, me and Nima.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Nima was actually one of my, you know,
Oldest
he
friends.
is one of my brothers, and we used to train back in the '90s at Hickson's gym, and he used to come down to Brazil to train with me. I mean, you know, we were young. I mean, such a good friend. Like we were bros. And we
Yeah.
were still bros.
Yeah.
So every time we'd go to the UFCs, excuse me. So Nima would call me, "Hey, are you gonna be on this one?" I'm like, "Yes." He goes, "Bring your gi." So when you know, all the fighters would sleep, he would come, "Hey, you ready?" Like 11 p.m. You know, would go down there, you know, in the training room, and we would train. And one day Nima called me. He goes like, "Hey, is that okay if I bring, you know, this coach, Rick Little, and some of these fighters? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So, you know, me and him, you know, with that training, and, you know, Rick, Kiesa, and Shane came in, and, hey, what's up? And, hey, you guys want to train? No. So they kind of not paying much attention, you know. They're all big stars, and they're on the phones, you know. I remember back in the days, like, you had to have a lot of followers on Instagram. Everybody's on Instagram the whole time.
Right.
You know, and I remember Nima saying, like, you guys want to train a little bit? Oh, no, that's okay. So they kept kind of looking at the phone, and then as I was rolling, I did something that was really cool, and Rick kind of stopped, and he puts the phone, he goes like, what was that? Did you guys see this? And they're like, no, please, can you do that? I'm like, no, stay on your phone. You guys are good shots. You don't need a, you know, old Brazilian guy to show you anything fancy. No. We'll put the phone away. And then that training was, I think, until 1 or 2 a.m. was hours. Like, we started, and it literally was like 2 a.m. in the morning. We you know, we're going over stuff. And, you know, that's how I met Rick Little, you know, and his team, you know, the Sick Jitsu. And right away was such a good connection because, you know, a lot of the coaches, you know, they have the fighters, they don't want to mix around, you know, everyone has like your beliefs and, you know, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that. And a lot of, they had, you know, the big ego thing, you know, I'm the head coach. So right away he was super open and the connection got right there.
Yeah.
But when actually did we?
So I wasn't there for that.
No,
I just heard about it. And then the UFC flew me out to Chicago for Latino Heritage Month.
Yes.
And I remember I was in the city. I was by myself. It was the first time I was ever in Chicago. I was so like, wow, this place is amazing. And Rick called me and said, I want you to go take the train to Schaumburg and train with this Rickson Gracie black belt. And I was like, how am I going to get out there? He's like, take a train. I was like, I'm not taking a train. This place is dangerous. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, get on the train. And I was actually with Ricardo Lamas and another girl that was working for the UFC that was like getting all the PR to do. So they dropped me off at the train station. I remember being like terrified because I had never taken the train before. I'm from a little small town in Spokane. I don't know how to train. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to go out to Schaumburg. And I remember going out there and Donnie picked me up. Yes. And Donnie brought me to the gym.
There you go, yeah.
And so I think that was like the first time that I came and met you. And I want to say that was in 2015.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe 2014? Maybe?
I think it was 14.
Yeah, I had pictures, so it's either 14 or 15.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Jesus.
Yeah, so then we went back home, and I remember Rick was like, we're all going out there. And so it was me, Mike Chiesa, Sam Cecilia, Elizabeth Phillips, and Rick Little, and we all literally stayed in your basement for like, I don't know, a week or something like that. Yeah. And that was terrible because when we had to go back home, you thought you were driving us to O'Hare, and we were all late. And we're like, no, we got to go to Midway. And you're like, what the hell?
Yes, they're like, you know, they talk shit about the Brazilians, you know, and then here you go. It's like, dude, all the way Midway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you're not going to make it. Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
I always do this. We won't make it. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And I'm flying
like 120 down the freeway.
130 flying to Midway. You know, I'm thinking, there's no way they're going to make it. And then they got on the plane to take a picture. Hey, fucker, you make it. And I'm like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah, but I think that we were so late because I don't think we understood the extent of how far Midway was from Schaumburg.
Yes.
Or that Luis thought we were going to O'Hare. So he's like, oh, yeah, we'll be fine. And then we're like, no, this isn't the airport. Like, we're going to Midway. And he's like, what? Like, why didn't you tell me that?
Me? Oh, I didn't know Midway was this far. I'm like, oh, fuck.
So
too late. Yes, it was a great experience.
We did seminars all over, like in Appleton.
Yes, it was awesome because we definitely enjoyed it. We had a great time. You know, the whole crew, the whole team, you know, super open mind. Everybody, you know, that was a good thing because how family, you know, you guys were like, you're so together. You all like, you know, it was like brothers and sisters and helping each other and putting time, putting the work. And I believe that's how a team should be, you know. And actually one thing that, that was, at the time was that Rick was very open minded of bringing someone and confident too, because a lot of the coaches don't want to kind of put too much out there because they're not confident about, hey, my fighter's probably leave the gym, and he wasn't, and then eventually we did a bunch of seminars all over for our association. So it was so cool because a lot of people was like, oh my God, 5 UFC fighters, and that's how it started, whole story, into the, LCCT Jiu Jitsu with the Sikh Jitsu family, and it's still on until today, we won a bunch, we lose very few, and hopefully keep losing as, a lot more than lost, which is,
Wait, what?
No,
you messed that up.
I don't want to lose anymore.
no, I don't want to lose anymore. That's what I said.
There
No?
you go. No, you
Okay. Julianna was looking at me. I was like, okay,
So what
I
are you
think I said that
talking
right. So yes, we don't want to lose.
No,
anything.
we want to win.
Yes, we won a lot more.
Yes.
The only thing that's a focus is the belt. That's it.
Yes, and that's the next step. That's the next.
The
big
next
thing.
step is we're one day at a time.
One day
Yes.
at a time.
We're
Yes.
not looking too
Right.
far ahead. We're
Right.
going to take this fight and
And
focus on this
I
fight.
know before you had the biggest, I would say the biggest accomplishment in your life. It calls Isa.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So
for
we
sure.
gotta talk about the princess.
Yes,
So right before you get Isa, right?
yeah,
You were very close to the title shot,
but
right? And I remember, did you get any injury before that? Because I know, like they were talking about maybe Ronda. Do you think what happened because I know Rick kind of put you out there, and then you I know you were talking about, I want to fight Ronda, and you were top 3 or top, I think I did number 1 or number 2. So how was that, you not having the opportunity to fight Ronda if you were so close out there?
right. It was
How-
it was
what do
very.
you think?
It was. I was upset because I beat everybody on her team.
Yes.
And then I was
And how many fights you won at that time?
4.
So 4 times.
Yeah, 4 in a row.
That's bullshit.
Um, the only reason why it is because every season of The Ultimate Fighter after that, they either were fighting for the belt at the end of the show,
Yes.
or they got immediate title shots right after they
Yes.
won the show. It happened to every other woman that fought on The Ultimate Fighter after me, except for me. They never did it for me, but they did it for everyone else after that. So that was
that probably was only one thing that you have against, not Dana White, but the associate, the whole company, like, why didn't I do this?
right.
You know?
And I think that there was a bit of protecting that they were doing,
Mm-hmm.
because Rhonda told me when I won the Ultimate Fighter, she looked me dead in the eyes and she said, I'm going to give you a tougher fight than Miesha Tate could ever dream about. And she said, but when that time comes, I'm still going to kick your ass. And I said, we'll see. And
Really, she came to you and she said
that was, yes. And then less
No
than an
shit.
hour after
Can you
that.
say that again?
Yeah.
I need to say that again. What did you say?
So when I won the Ultimate Fighter,
Yes.
Dana takes us out.
Yes.
And so we went out and we
Yes.
were in the bar, and the only time that she talked to me, she said, you're going to give me a tougher fight than Miesha Tate could ever dream about.
Oh, yes.
And she said, but when that time comes, I'm still going to kick your ass.
Gee, I wonder why
Yeah.
that was. Huh?
Wow.
And
Why do people do that?
she was trying to play mind games,
Of
but I
course.
literally said, we'll see.
Yes.
And less than a half an hour later, she was puking in the corner at this freaking quarters
Exactly.
video game bar, and literally got carried out of there, like hands and arms like dead, like literally 2 by the feet, 2 by the arms and the head, and they literally wheeled her out of there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was wasted. She must have been upset that she lost the whole season and her team sucked and they all lost. But you know what? She got the last laugh because she did end up beating Miesha.
Yes.
It's an individual sport.
It's something that I never understood, and we had it, in our side too. Ben had 3 or 4 wins in a row, and he won Barnett, with the go-go choke, and then he won Overing, one of his best, time right there, and Schwab, Vera, Mitrion, and still we didn't have the title shot, so it's like,
Yeah, like what much more do I gotta do?
Exactly,
Yeah.
but I feel like sometimes, it's not like that they don't like you, it's just because whoever makes it, this makes more sense for them than, like I said, a lot of the times, like we want things to be in our way, but then the owner of the company, it seemed totally different than even though we think it's unfair. I really thought it was unfair that you didn't get the shot. I really think it was unfair for Ben to get his shot at the time.
Right.
We were talking to Lamas 2 weeks ago, and it really took him a long time until he actually got a title shot. So that's one thing that I think we're so close, but
It's frustrating.
You didn't get the title shot, but then you got
Yeah.
the biggest accomplishment of any belt,
Right.
which is your daughter.
Right.
So tell us about now how it is to be, because people don't realize again, how is to be a mom
Yeah.
and, top 3 fighter in the world, in the UFC, the biggest association in the world. How is that to be a mom, to train? How hard is that?
It's hard, but it's worth it.
Guaranteed.
My baby is my pride and joy. She's so beautiful, and I love her so much. Oh my gosh, I love that kid. She came into my life and rocked my world, literally turned my world upside down, but in the best way, because as a woman, you always want to, of course you want to have kids, and I've always known that I wanted to have kids. The timing, I don't think, was something that I had planned out, but I think that the things that aren't planned are always the best. And so I didn't plan to have her, but once I knew that I was going to have her, it ended up being the best thing for me. And she's my little mini me, she's amazing, and she comes to all my practices and she watches me fight, and she loves it, literally. She loves it.
Do you think she's going to be a fighter? Do you think she's going to be in the UFC?
I will not allow that, I don't think.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen, now we got to hear. So remember this, your daddy and your grandpa, right?
Yeah.
They say like, I don't want you ever to do it again, but
No.
you did it.
Yeah.
So what happened if that time comes? She goes, Mom, this is what I want.
Listen, this is what
Listen.
this is what I want for my child. Whatever she does, I want her to be happy.
Yes.
Whatever she does. If she decides that she wants to be a rock star, if she decides she wants to go to school to be a doctor, if she wants to pursue fighting, whatever it is, it's going to make her happy. But I'll tell you, I was extremely passionate about mixed martial arts.
Yes.
When I found
need to have in your
that
soul
was
and
my
blood.
passion.
Yes, I agree.
If she comes to me and says, this is my passion, and I see the dedication,
Yes.
then of course I will support her. But is it what I want for her? Absolutely not.
Yeah, my son Hanzo is the same. He wants to fight in the UFC. I mean, you know how much he trains. He's a world champion already. And, 14 years old. He wins everything in wrestling, jiu-jitsu. And it's even though I know, I mean, he's already so focused on it, and I still go like, dude, I don't want to fight. Like, I don't think I can handle it.
Right.
I see him fighting, and I almost pass out every fight, and like sometimes he's fighting, and I'm, and then he looks at me and goes, calm down, dude, I got this. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. So it is tough.
Well, it's because of what I have experienced. I've blown out both of my knees, not just one, both of them. I've dislocated both of my elbows. I have tendons missing in my hands.
Is that why you kind of walk weird?
Yeah, no.
I'm joking.
I've broken my fingers. I've broken my toes.
She's beautiful. She's gorgeous.
I've dislocated and broken literally everything that you can. So I know how tough that this road is.
Yes.
So to me, I'm like, stay in school, get a degree, go to college. Don't do this. Don't do this, because I know what it takes to be fighting at this level, and it's very hard on the body, and I don't have a bionic body. I'm an old lady, you know what I mean?
I
And
don't
so
know about that old lady, but I mean,
I'm 30 years old. That's old in this game.
I don't know.
It's
I
old
don't
in this
know.
game.
I don't
And
know.
my point is that I know what it takes, and
Yes.
it's very hard on the body, and I
Yes,
don't want
it
that
is.
for her. I do not want that.
So as you're saying about her going to school and all that stuff, and I can even think about it, I mean, imagine, so when, she started going high school and, she's beautiful and all that stuff, and how crazy it's gonna be for a boyfriend to walk into your house, which, hey, this is my mom, Julianna Peña, UFC, world champion, and now you got on this side, daddy, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt and he's a cop. How nice is that?
Oh man.
I can think about this boy. He goes to room and dad pulls a gun. He goes, listen, dude, you gotta be, and then he goes to the other room and thinks he's gonna have, mama, and there you go, UFC fighter.
One of the things that I think that we both agree on, her and her father, is giving her confidence and
Yes.
literally you think I have a big head. This little girl's 2.5 years old and she has a gigantic head because we tell her every single day how beautiful she is.
I think I know the dad really well.
Yeah.
And I think I know the mom really well.
Well, we tell her 1,000,000 times a day that she's the most beautiful little girl that we've ever seen in our entire lives.
She is.
We fill her head with so much confidence
She is.
so that when some boy comes around and says, oh, hey, you're really beautiful, she's not going to be like, oh, he thinks I'm beautiful. She's going to be like, I heard that 1,000,000 times. You know, what else do you got? What else do you bring to the table? Like, we want her to be so confident that she knows you don't need to seek attention from a man. You don't need to be, you know, wanting them to be loving you because we gave you all that love your entire life.
Yes.
And so she's gonna need more than a couple compliments her way to be impressed by some, you know, little Joe Schmo. And so I want her to focus on her career. I want her to focus on herself. Travel the world. Most women in the Latino culture, they get quinceañeras when they turn 15.
Yes.
When she turns 15, we want to get the money instead and have her go travel and
True.
see the world and get experiences like that instead of being impressed by some little boy that throws a compliment her way. And I hope that when she gets older that she, you know, focuses on herself and making herself happy and then her career and finding whatever it is that makes her happy and passionate about. And later on then can come men, and hopefully that'll be when she's 35. And then I won't.
Mom,
Yeah.
That's the mom talking.
And then I won't have a
Imagine
problem with
the
it.
dad.
Yeah,
That's
I won't even have a
exactly-
problem with
Dad
it at
says
that
she's going
point.
to church. I talked to him the other day when you guys were in my house, you know, watching UFC. He goes like, "No, she's going to church."
Yeah.
Yes, that's what that says.
Yeah,
And he
she's
goes,
going to church and she's going to college.
Whoever gets close, you know, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, and they gotta get through me before they get through her. You know
And
what I
tell
mean?
us-
So
and tell
and
us-
he's the first
I-
wall. So
Yes.
if they can get through him and then they can get through her, then they gotta go through me. And if they can get through me, well then you have my blessing. But
Oh boy.
it's not just gonna be
Just
any
a
little.
throw out there. Whoever come here towards this side of the world, you will be in deep trouble.
Right, and I mean it's only because I want the absolute best for my daughter.
We all
Yeah.
do. We all
Yep.
do. I think it's the kids are the most precious things that we
That's God's
have
gift.
in this world.
Right.
And being, once again, being in the family environment, which is a UFC fighter, right, top level, and then on the other side of dad, he's a black belt, and then she's living this life like whatever she looks at it as a fighter. How is like to have the husband that is also a black belt? So it's like, hey dude, if you don't cook tonight, I'm gonna beat you up, or hey women, if you don't cook, I'm gonna choke you out. So how is that?
First off, I'm not married. Let me just throw that out there.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he doesn't want to marry me anymore.
Oh no, let's not bring this up. It was just a question
Okay.
about
Well,
who
I
will
just
cook.
well,
Who will cook?
that's the problem. Is like, oh, we have this fight over who's cooking. Now he's like, I'm not marrying you. No, I'm just kidding. But so I think that the biggest thing here is that the big misconception. People think that because I fight for a living,
Yes.
that I like to fight in my regular day life.
But listen, you're awesome in the kitchen.
I know
that.
I'm such a good cook.
You-
I
you
love
know,
to
She
cook.
stayed in my house for 3 months, training, camp and all that stuff, and and this is one of the things, how amazing, and this is like when Julianna, and this is a really cool thing, and once again, I like to try to go everywhere so people can see actually that a fighter is a human being just like anybody else. Because a lot of people that don't know you, they see like the star Julianna Peña, and she's, oh my God, because I've been in that situation, and people, oh my God, I think so Julianna, and the fans, they don't have that, and this is a good way for them to see you more. And it's amazing that you're a fighter, but you are a great mom, and I know you cook awesome. And it's like on the gym, when we're about to clean up the mats, she's like getting them, vacuum, and that's how humble you are. And
Humble
I
and
think,
super well-rounded.
yes, and I think that's one of the most important things is that
Thank you.
people understand that even though you are a big star, you know what I'm saying, you're part of an elite.
I would never say that about myself.
Well,
Well,
look,
because you're
I
humble.
understand because I know how humble you are, but you have to understand how many people there are fighters that got what you got.
Yeah.
This is a huge accomplishment for a human being into the biggest show on earth, which
Yeah.
is the UFC.
Not
Right.
to mention role model for you.
Exactly. So, like I said, being a mom, being there, doing the right thing, being a role model. I mean, those are great things for a human being.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, you accomplish all this. So, you know, it's you have to take the credit. I know sometimes you don't take the credit, but dude, I mean, think about it, how much work, you know, sweat, pain, and it made you here. You made it. You know, you were there.
Yeah.
You know, you're number 3 in the world today, and you're about to take number 1.
Yeah.
You know, and we're right there. But at the end of the day, you're a human being. You know that you cry before, you laugh. You know, you cook, you clean.
My house is a mess. My house is a mess right now.
Well, every time he's on camp, I believe you know you can't focus
Right.
100% in the house,
Right.
Because you got a business to take care of.
Right.
But you know, I really like to, you know, to show that side of you too, because once again, a lot of people don't know that part of you. You know.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing.
Thank you. I always try to keep it real with people. It's almost like, you know, if I'm mad, you're going to know it. If I'm happy, you're going to know it. I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm very transparent in that way. I don't really have much to hide, but I'm not a perfect person. I have a messy house. I need to scrub my toilets, you know, but there are things that I love to do, like to cook. You know, I just served lunch to my daughter's godparents today, and they were like, this is a feast. Oh my God, I can't even believe, like, this is so good, and it's so, like, you made this, you know.
I hope my kitchen gets ready soon.
Yeah, no, I love to cook. I love to spend time with my daughter, and I love to do those, you know, regular domesticated things that normal people do. It just happens to be that I fight for a living, but, you know,
There's nothing wrong with that.
there isn't, but that's
You know?
not just all who I am, you
But I
know,
think it
not
was
just a
back in the-
fighter.
I think back in the day it was like women fighting.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, you know, back in the days, I know like, oh, we're never gonna have a women in UFC. And then when the first fight happened, boom, you know, the audience and numbers went crazy, and now you have the world, you know, like you have women in many main cards.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think once again, it's so nice to see the accomplishments that happens, you know, in the fighting world today.
Right.
Because before that would never happen.
Well, it's just all about supply and demand, and
Yes.
fortunately for us women, there's a demand for us,
Yes.
there's a need for us,
Yes.
and people want to see it. And so it's a good time to be in women's mixed martial arts, because people fortunately want to see two chicks get in a fist fight with each other. And you know, we are in a male dominated sport, but there's a place for us, and there's a place where the spotlight is even bigger for us because we are women,
Yes.
and because it is rare, and because there's not a lot of us. So it's a good time to be in mixed martial arts as a female. And also, I always say this: anything a man can do, a woman can do better. And I know that I get a lot of heat for that, but I definitely think that women fight harder. We fight with more heart. We fight with that, you know, unrelentless, never giving up type of spirit. And I think that just goes, you know, we carry these bowling balls in our bellies, and we give birth to these humans. Like, we're givers of life, and you know, women are incredible creatures, and we were designed to do incredible things, you know. So I just think that it's such a honor to fight at the, you know, highest level that there is, and it just goes to show that women don't give up, and whatever they set their sights on, that they can accomplish. And that is one thing that I want other women and other little girls to realize, is that you can accomplish your dreams. You can have whatever it is that you want, and if you're willing to work hard and put in the time and determination to get that, and that never giving up attitude.
And you know, it's so nice that, you know, once you talk, every time you talk so well, right? And that brings
Thank
it
you.
up that you're also a commentator, right?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that side that people don't know, which is a really cool thing. I mean, I think you should be in the movies too. Because you see a lot of you know, some of the UFC girls are in the movies too, you know. So tell us a little bit about that side of, you know, of being a fighter, being a mom. You know, how is that to be a commentator and totally, you know, now you're sitting and you're seeing people killing each other.
Yeah.
How is that experience?
Yeah,
So-
when did you start? Who was it with?
It was with Combate. I believe it was in 2015. I think I just looked that up. So the thing is, if you guys haven't got this by now, I could talk to a rock for hours. I mean, I got the gift of gab. I can't shut up. Like, I like to talk. Yeah, I like to talk. So when I won the Ultimate Fighter, this man got a hold of me. His name is Campbell McLaren. and he actually is one of the creators of the UFC. And he started this new promotion called Combate Americas, which was catering to the Latin American market. And when he first sat me down, he was like, do you know how long I've been trying to get a hold of you? And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He's like, I have been calling you since you won the Ultimate Fighter, and I have never gotten a hold of you. I just kept getting voicemail. He's like, I have been trying to get a hold of you. And I thought, who is this stone cold bitch? And she won't take my phone call. And I was like, are you serious? I never got a phone call with you. He's like, here's the thing. He's like, I realized I had the wrong number the whole time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Campbell, you're hilarious. He's like, I am so glad to have you here. You have no idea how long I've been trying to hire you. And I was like, well, thank you. And so I started commentating, and I'm passionate about MMA, and I can talk forever, so to translate that into the commentating role is just easy for me. It was something that I'd always wanted to do, and you're not going to be able to fight forever. We discussed I don't have a bionic body, and I do want to commentate, and so
yes,
it was
you do really well. Not kissing your ass,
yeah.
but you do really well.
Well, it was just something that fit. And something that I've always wanted to transition into after fighting. And so it's just another, source of income. It's something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that I actually truly enjoy. It doesn't feel like a job to me. It's actually really fun and exciting.
It's like you like to talk and you get paid.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but like to see the amount of talent and the new breed of fighters, the new generation. It's amazing, especially because a lot of our fighters that were fighting for the organization have been picked off, cherry-picked to go to the UFC. Every UFC card that I'm watching right now, I'm seeing talent being pulled from our organization, from Combate. And so we have a legitimate product. Combate Americas is that new up-and-coming promotion with tons and tons of talent. And it's
yes,
just
in the Latin community, they have tough fighters. It's amazing.
Right. And so it's exciting to see these new generation fighters come up through the ranks and do big things. And so it's a great thing to be a part of and to be experiencing. And it's just a plus that we have been able to transition into regular basic cable like Access TV. Unfortunately, COVID and the coronavirus has prevented us from being able to put on as many shows this year, but we're definitely going to be up and running soon, and I will be doing that.
So I'm praying for it.
Right.
Can get rid of this shit and
Right.
go back to our normal life.
Right.
And I have, I know how much time we have, so I know
We're
we
about
can.
120.
Okay, cool. So I want to have one more question, because you're saying when you're training one day in the beginning, and then Rick came under his own system, he gives you a blue belt, and I want to ask us about it, because about everybody, about the jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. And I know one day you came to me and goes like, I want to be belt tested under you on the gi, because a lot of fighters, they actually don't do that, right? And I know you were just like, I really want to do this. I really want to get the details and all that stuff. And that's what I, been doing my whole life, since I started, training and of course following Hickson's steps, the belt test and Helio Gracie and all that stuff. So basics makes a difference. So how was, I know it was a really hard test, and you're very picky about it. We trained for so many months until you actually got the belt test. So how was that to do another accomplishment? Because you under the no-gi jiu-jitsu, you're under the MMA wrestling, no-gi jiu-jitsu and kickboxing, and then suddenly you put in the pajamas, like some of the guys, some of the MMA fighters say, yeah, man, Lama's like, I'm gonna put this goddamn pajamas, dude.
Yeah.
So how was it actually accomplish another thing in your life that is totally different from what you actually do?
Yeah, so when I came to you, I took off, I didn't even wear that belt. Like, what am I going to do, wear Rick's belt and then go train no-gi, like when we don't even have gis on? I came to you as a white belt. A desolate, broke, freaking terrible white belt. I remember rolling with you for the first time and you're like, oh my God, what's wrong with this chick? She's stiff as a board, just crazy. So I came to you as a white belt. And I remember having a fight and being like, I want eventually a black belt. I want to be tested. I want to earn it. So I realized in the jiu-jitsu community, a lot of these places, they're like, if you put in 6 months, here's your blue belt.
Yeah.
Or if you put in 2 years, here's your purple belt. This is not the case with Luis and his system. You have to put in the time, and then you have to be tested on all of this. A lot of places, they don't have belt tests. They just give you the belt. They just say, oh, you showing up, here's your belt, you know? But you don't necessarily have to have the skills to back it up. In this case, I feel like I have earned my belts.
Nice.
I have been putting in the time.
How many hours was your test?
I don't know, like 6 to 8. Like, it's a whole day of testing. And
Were you happy with the percentage that you accomplished in the belt test?
oh, I was so pissed because I put in all these months of training. I put in these hours.
And
It's
then
like,
wait, you're gonna before you say it, I have to stop you. Before she says how much, actually she did extremely well. But and that's a good thing. This is a good quality that you have. You always want it 100%.
right.
Right? And just because she blinked it wrong, I didn't give her the 100%. But go ahead and tell your side.
Well, I was
So
just
people will know.
irritated because I know that there was like another girl that got tested and she got a higher percentage than me, and I was like, I can kill her! What are you doing? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'll freaking one hand tied behind my back, I'll freaking choke this broad out. Like, are you kidding? Why did she get a higher percentage? And like, he's just like,
And she got like 94.
yeah, no,
you got 90
I was like in the 80s.
No,
I think
no,
the
no.
other girl
You're
got
crazy.
in the 90s.
You were 90 something.
I was mad.
No,
And-
she was 90. I think she was 94.
I was there, but I'm not gonna say
I
anything.
think it was 94. But anyway, I think. Yeah, and what is your belt now? Just so you
I
know.
have made it for years now to a purple belt.
So you're purple belt.
I am now. I
Officially.
started to you as a white, and now I have gone to purple.
Okay. So, and of course, guys, she did a couple of no-gi tournaments, and, she goes, she doesn't go under the belt, she just go purple and high, and of course she won. You did some no-gi here in Chicago.
Yeah,
and that
right
was
after I
one of
had
them.
my baby,
Yeah.
I did, I competed and
Was that
I won a
Naga?
belt.
It was Naga.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was Naga or one of the new breeds, or
Yeah.
she won a belt. And what was funny though,
No, it
because
wasn't a
It was
it was
new.
new breed, so she came to me and she's all like, "Oh my god, I'm so nervous." I'm like, "Dude, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like you fight in the UFC. How are you nervous? Not saying anything bad about your breed. I mean, there's no punchings and knees and elbows. Like it's just
Just jiu-jitsu.
a jiu-jitsu. And probably the other girls are like, and she didn't even put Julianna Peña. It was like Julie, whatever.
I think it was just like Julie P.
Just Julie P, just so people will be like, who? Julianna Peña? I don't want to fight. This is a UFC fighter. And then she goes and then she destroys the girl. And actually, the idea was to have her, because she was not competing, fighting in UFC. I says, look, Julie, I think it would be a great idea just for you to start doing a couple of tournaments just to get that, that fighting. Because sometimes, dude, fighters, your case, you got the baby, or you injure yourself, or some guys got caught with this or that, and then you're 2 years without fighting, and people don't fight, and then suddenly you have a big fight in UFC. And dude, there's a huge difference. I understand this is competition, but one, you're getting punched in the face, and the other one, you're grappling. Both are competitions, and they'll bring that butterflies and all that stuff. But so how was that competing in a no-gi tournament that
I was freaking out, dude. I was freaking out. I hadn't competed. I had just had a baby like months before that. Not only that, but I had a C-section. So
Yes.
like they had to throw my guts back in and sew me back up. Like I had a C-section. And I was nervous because I was like, do I still got it? Am I still going to be able to do this? Like, what if I get submitted? Like, I haven't competed in so long. I was freaking out because I thought that, something bad was going to happen. And can I still do this? Am I still a fighter? Do I still have that fighting spirit? And so I was just afraid to get submitted.
And one thing, guys, I want to share with you guys, and that's probably one of the biggest thing, and I almost forgot to say. Did you guys hear how many questions she had about herself?
Yep.
A lot of the times, okay, people out there, the fans, they have no idea how much you fight with your head,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's like it's pretty much most of the time, most of the fighters have the doubts.
Right.
It's like dude, nobody just walked in and go like, I'm Anderson Silva and I'm gonna fight for 10 years and win all this, or
Right.
Aldo, whoever was the champion, GSP. Like people don't realize how much it goes through your guy's head,
Yeah.
right? Through your career, the doubts and all that stuff, it's like your worst enemy is always yourself,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
How is, and that will be my last question if you have
Yeah,
any.
would you say that is this the same question you're going to ask? Would you say that that's the biggest fight of your life?
It's always with yourself.
Every time.
Every time.
Absolutely. Because you are your own worst enemy. And
Yes.
it's so weird because I could never judge somebody else or be critical of someone else. I'd be like, oh, you did awesome. You did your, yeah, so way to go, But for me, I'm like, you idiot. You're so stupid. Why did you do that? You know what I mean? I think most people are most critical of themselves.
Yes.
And that's for sure my case. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get rid of that as much.
But that's how you become a champion.
I am really mean to myself.
But that's how you become a champion. You can never be relaxed on your chair and going like, yeah, I'm a badass. If you have that and you're not a champion yet, you're not going to be a champion.
Right.
So I believe you have. I mean, just think about it, what you told us today, okay? And just think about it. How much time, effort, pain, winnings, lost, everything in all these years, and you're right there.
Right.
So I always tell you, you're not gonna swim the whole ocean to die on the beach,
Right.
right?
Right.
You're going for that title, you got the title. And
Right.
I know 1,000%, because you proved already.
Right.
How many fighters do you know that broke their arm? And they
Arms.
wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not just the fight, the result of the fight. It's how big your heart is.
Right.
How much you're willing to put there. You broke an arm and you still want to fight.
Right.
So you have a champion, a mindset of a champion, a soul of a champion. So, once again, I'm very proud, happy to have you,
Thank you.
to be able to share my knowledge, to be part of, what we do. And of course, thanks, for Rick. That actually was an open mind, and other than that, you wouldn't be here in Chicago. And I'm very happy.
Me too. I'm very
Anything?
happy.
And it was an honor to sit down and talk with you.
It was an honor to be here, Luis. You are one of my biggest mentors in this game. I love you so much. I love you like a dad. I used to live with you for months, and even though you like to tell lies and stuff about me and test, I'm not even gonna get into it. I love you so much. I look
love
up to
you too.
you, and thank you so much for just the years that you've been putting into me and supporting me.
It's
And
been a pleasure.
it means the world to
It's
me.
been a journey that we all think about. It's once again, we do this and we love it so much. It's the passion. But it's really important to work with people that actually, both ways, that care. We all in the business. We all need to live our lives. But at the end of the day, how cool it is to share some passion. Make a living out of it and have fun. So
Definitely.
thank you for being part of our family.
Thank you.
Thanks actually for coming here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I think people love this. I
Yeah.
think it's so freaking cool.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate
you.
it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
love you,
People
bro.
wanna follow
I love you
on,
too.
Social media.
Yep, at Venezuelan Vixen, all across the board. Twitter, Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Venezuelan Vixen.
And the fight will be October 3rd.
October 3rd,
Las
Jermaine
Vegas,
Duraniman.
Nevada.
I think so.
Here we go, baby. Here
Let's
we
go.
go.
Let's go. Time
Here we go.
to go eat.
Here we go. We have Julian on the 3rd, Ben on the 10th. Lamas at the end of the month. Yeah, you soon also. So
Yeah.
we got a bunch of fighters coming in and
Yeah.
a bunch of fighters. So it's gonna be awesome couple months.
Anything you'd like to say to people in Venezuela?
I heard that they're welcoming any and all parts of the country to bring democracy into the country of Venezuela. So I welcome that too. They're under a dictatorship and they need democracy. So I hope that happens for them. And God bless all of my family right now, a few of them are recovering from the coronavirus. My aunt passed away. She died from the coronavirus. So I just
Sorry to hear that.
hopefully my family stays safe. That's all I care about.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
you
you.
very
Thank
We
you.
Love you, girl.
Love you too.
Us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.